Hey everybody, what is going on today? This is Truth Force coming to you. Big tech plans, social scores up on Drudge Report on the front page here. Silicon Valley is building a Chinese style social credit system. Make sure you guys share this video all over, especially with your leftist friends, because they're the ones who are advocating this, and they're the ones going to be caught up in this, and it's going to be used against them when someone else is in power who they don't like, aka Trump. So make sure you guys share this. Seriously, this will help our channel grow. Really appreciate you guys are the best. So there's an article back from 2015 that I'm going to go through real quick, and then we'll go through some of the latest ones. This is by a guy named Rick Falkvinge, who's a prolific person in the internet security community as well as in the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash community. He's very smart. I do recommend you check out his channel on YouTube. Back in 2015, he talked about a credit score that was introduced into China, and it is affected by your friends' opinion about you, your opinion about your friends' political opinions, in your family, like your spouse, your kids, all that type of thing. It gives you a certain credit score between 350 and 950. And this was essentially your political opinions being in line with Chinese officials make your score go higher. And if your score is lower, then there's going to be negative things that happen to you. It started off as a way, like a test thing. If you guys watch InfoWars, you probably have seen Alex Jones talk about the Chinese censorship that's being implemented in waves. And they started testing it out through just a few 100,000 people in large cities, and then it turned into this thing where just across the street you would have someone checking your papers. There's all these photo scanners on every corner. You guys should look in the Chinese censorship, what it's like to live under the Chinese surveillance state, Chinese police state. Look that up. There's some good documentaries about that. So essentially it was called the Sesame Score. And they're rolling out more and more initiatives to make this even worse, where it's turning it into like what the KGB or the Stasi would use. Essentially, you can't go into any. You can't like what I'm literally saying. You can't cross the street. Okay, you can't jaywalk. You have to literally cross at a certain section. There are literally police officers on every corner of every street, and they'll randomly check your stuff, your papers, to make sure who you are. You'll be walking down the sidewalk. There'll be like a random checkpoint set up in the middle of the sidewalk to check your papers. If you're someone who has a low score, they might frisk you, they might search you, they might drag you off if your score got too low that week, and you might be never seen again. So a lot of this stuff has been going on. And here's essentially what these scores mean here. Now, the lower your score, the worse thing happens to you. But essentially, the higher the score, you get more privileges. You're allowed to do things. So you have to pretty much suck up to the government. So if your credit score goes below 600, you can't get loans. You can't use the bank. You're not allowed to go into public restaurants. You can't use Facebook or WeChat or all these types of things. And as your score goes up, you're able to start doing all these things. Like you can rent a car without having a deposit. You can have an instant loan of $800 without collateral and shopping online. You get access to more bureaucratic fast track stuff for travel permits. You're able to fast track go into European countries. There's a bunch of different examples. So what this is turning into now, we'll go over to the main story that was just posted today over on Fast Company. This is the one that Drudge has up on there. And he also has a report about the human cyborgs that are starting to be implemented. But that's a video for another time. So just pause this real quick. So the newest thing that's going on right now is they're not letting you leave the country. You're not allowed to check into hotels. You can't get high visibility jobs. So let's say that you don't like the current Chinese government and you voice your opinion about it. Your score is going to go down. You could lose your job. Your kids could get kicked out of school. Your family could be put into a ghetto. You could be put into a ghetto. They won't even let you leave your house. They could make it so you're not allowed to go grocery shopping and you just have to eat whatever they give you. You're not allowed to smoke. You're not allowed to have late payments. You're not allowed to play loud music. They'll do all these different things, and they're going hard on anybody, including the Falun Gong or the Tibetan Buddhist monks who are currently fighting back. It's essentially authoritarianism gamified, is what this guy tweeted out a long time ago at Vitalik Buterin. And it is. It's a huge blacklist that's being built, and this is starting to happen in America. We'll go through some of those examples as well. They have public shaming as part of it. Pictures of blacklisted people in one city were shown between videos on TikTok. So like there'll be like big TVs everywhere, and they'll show like blacklisted citizens. They'll show you where they live to avoid them. Don't talk to them. If you talk to them, your score will go down. So if you had like a father who spoke out or a mother who spoke out or something, and then you're still in contact with them, your score will go down, and then that brings down the score of all of your friends. Then all your friends start giving you shit. While you're bringing my score down, you're going to get me in trouble. And then you can see how this quickly makes people want to keep their low score family members and friends out of their lives, and effectively ostracizes them for conformity. So they are building some people call it a Skinner box. It's I'm not quite sure it is exactly, but it's more of a forced compliance model based on just a bunch of variables. I can't think of a better word for it, so I guess a Skinner box probably could be the best thing right now. But it starts off with like insurance companies, some of the stuff that's going on with that in the U.S. we could go over. Then they'll start with like restaurants. They start with grocery stores. Then it's like your social score for your friends on like Facebook and all that type of crap. And then they move on to, classifying you, what political thing you are. So Facebook classifies if you're like a liberal through Republican and in between. And insurance companies are starting to do this by checking your social media accounts now. So big tech is obviously selling that all to them. If you go to bars, they're using this thing called Patron Scan now, which I went to their website here. So here's an example of someone coming over to Patron Scan, a Patron Scan kiosk inside of a bar. You have to show them your ID. It shows exactly who you are, your age. It'll say like if you're a bad drinker, if you're a smoker, if you're loud, if you're like banned. You could essentially be banned from restaurants and in the entire United States. Like every Olive Garden might ban you, and then because you got thrown out of an Olive Garden, then all of a sudden you can't go into McDonald's because Olive Garden banned you, and then Burger King sees that you're banned at McDonald's, then you're banned at Burger King, and then you could just be banned from everywhere. So you can see how this is turning into the exact scenario that the left was talking about. I was like, oh, you got to bake that cake. And then now they're embracing this massive thing for bars, clubs, dispensaries, hotels, casinos. This patron ID thing is going to change a lot of things, and it's just a simple little stupid Windows tablet that's really cheap that you can be hooked up to any point of sale register that they're going to use to get you. Cheap tech manufactured in slave countries like China is going to enslave us. Do not consent to giving your IDs up to these things. If you go to a bar and they have that system, tell them you do not consent and you do not agree to it. Uber and Airbnb, they're given scores to the users of it. So if you guys aren't familiar with Uber and Airbnb, if you take an Uber, there used to just be a driver score, which you would give a score to your driver. Now the driver can give you a score. Same thing for Airbnb. The guests who stay at a house can have a score now. So they can disable your account for life. They can disable you from ever using Uber ever again. And you can imagine how that's going to affect other services. Because if, like I said, if McDonald's and Burger King and all these places see that you're banned for Uber because you were drunk one time and yelling or something, they might ban you from all their restaurants, and they're going to share their data because big tech shares data, and it all gets funneled. So you see where this is going. You can be banned just for using WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not even really used in the United States for the most part. Over in China, they'll block your internet. They'll try to attack you, things like that, if you're using WhatsApp. So that's going to start coming in here too. The United States is starting to take a hard line against WhatsApp. So it's under the guise of, what's wrong with a social credit score anyway? Like, what's the big deal? People don't like when there's people being rude and unhealthy and reckless, selfish, whatever behavior, right? And that's like the guise and disguise they put this under is like, where it's going to be to help people, and it's going to give people societal privileges if they're nice and blah, blah, blah. And it's always shown to be like this nice bullshit. Nothing needs to track you this much. You don't need it. It's all just a way to funnel your data. Like life insurance right now, they're using social media posts to determine your premiums, as long as they don't quote unquote discriminate. So if you're like having fun in a picture, they could just charge you more money, even if you're not doing anything illegal. And they're scanning all of this stuff. You guys got to get off these big social media things. And if you're on them, you have to use a fake name, a fake email, and get a fake burner phone number by signing up for a bunch of free services that give you like a burner number. Don't give them your data. The only way to fight this is to give them all fake data. Use a VPN, use Tor, use decentralized stuff, use blockchains, use mixing programs that mix your cryptocurrencies as long as it's legal. As long as these things are legal, you should use them. These companies, you don't owe them your data, and they're using this all in their algorithms, and it's just going to get worse. One day, your credit score, Chinese credit score, American credit score, it's going to fall below something. You're going to be sent off to the gulags. Just remember that, guys. All right, that's it for this video today. Make sure you guys share these videos, share the links to our website, to our Minds, to our Steemit. Make sure you guys check out all that stuff down below. We are on a decentralized blockchain called Steem, and you guys should sign up to that. It's steemit.com. All the links down below. Also follow us on Minds and BitChute, which is an alternative decentralized video hosting platform, as well as 3Speak, which is a live streaming and video hosting platform that is dedicated to free speech and censorship resistance. All right, guys, that's it for today. Truth Force, see ya.